Oh, hello. My name is Mara and welcome to Books Like Whoa. So, as I think you guys have seen in recent videos, I've been tagged and to do a lot of tags by the tags creators. Again, so many uses the word tag in that one sentence, and I wanted to go ahead and try to do as many of those as I can, just because if the original creator of the tag tags me to do it, I want to try to do it. So anyway, you're getting a lot of these from me in the next few weeks. Hope that's cool. I really like tags. I don't do them nearly as much as I used to, just because if you guys could see the list of ideas that I have for videos, I just never feel like there's time to do them because I have so many things I want to do and I feel like so little time. Even though I put out 3 videos a week, honestly, I could easily put out a video a day because I have a ton of ideas. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So yeah, today we are doing the Under the Influence of Booktube tag by a Book Olive. Now, if you're not subscribed to a Book Olive, you should definitely go check her out, because if you watch me, if you like my taste in books, I think you would probably like her. I mean, we don't have 100% overlap in taste, and we don't always have the same opinions, but I think that there's a pretty high Venn diagram overlap there. She's lovely. I really enjoy watching her videos, so if somehow you know me but you don't know her, definitely go check her out. Soon, I'm not sure if it's up yet or not, but I'm doing a video of a list of people whose tastes are really similar to mine on Booktube, just for y'all's edification, and she's definitely on there. So anyway, thank you so much to a Book Olive for tagging me, and yeah, let's just dive right on into these questions. Okay, so I've not read, I've seen her video, but I've not read these questions or prepped anything, so we'll just see how this goes. I'm kind of freeballing this, so let's see. Number 1, what's a fantastic book you read off the recommendation of another booktuber? And oppositely, what's a book that you were talked out of reading because of a booktuber's review? Ooh, spicy. Okay, I think my go-to answer for this, I did a whole video about YouTube made me read it, so I had a whole list of things that people made me read. I would say that the one that comes to mind is The Natural / The Natural series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, which is essentially YA criminal minds. So it really got me, it kind of solidified in my mind of oh, I really like YA mysteries. It's a subcategory of mystery that I really like. And Ash Hart Books is actually the one who recommended that to me. She sold the shit out of that to me. So I'm so glad she did. And what book that I was talked out of reading? That's such an interesting, I'm not sure that one specifically comes to mind. I guess the only real example I can think of is that I will probably never read A Court of Rose and Thorns. Is that the first one in the A Court of series? I probably will never read that, just based on the reviews from Books with Emily Fox and Thoughts on Tomes. I think they have persuaded me that I'm going to go straight to the second book. I'm going to do some fan wikiing to figure out what happened in the first book and then move from there. People get really upset about this. I do this with series all the time. It's fine. It doesn't diminish my personal enjoyment. Maybe someday I would go back and skim read, but I'm just going to go to the second one whenever I get around to that series, because based on the reviews I've seen, I think that's how I would enjoy it best. So that's the best example I can think of. Number 2, has Booktube opened your mind or changed your mind about any genres? Well, we're very YA focused for these first couple questions, I guess, but I would say that, so I had kind of written off as a little too strong, but really been very suspicious of YA for a very long time. Pretty much from, let's say, I'm 31 now, probably from when I was 20-ish to about 27. I just really, okay, sorry, I just got a call and literally every Apple device I had simultaneously just rang, and it was a lot. So I don't totally remember where I was in that thought. But basically, I think what I was saying was that I was very suspicious of that genre just because it was a very specific time in YA in terms of what titles were being pushed. And I think from Harry Potter, then to Twilight, then to Hunger Games, the kind of theme of YA was all of the books that are front list are going to be Harry Potter-like or Twilight-like. We went through fantasy, then we did more of a paranormal romance thing, then we did a dystopia. It was very we're gonna pick one genre and that's what's gonna get pushed in YA. And I think what I didn't realize until I actually started watching more Booktube in my late 20s was that YA had evolved quite a bit beyond that, and that there was a lot more variety, and frankly I think a lot better quality in YA. So I think that Booktube definitely kind of opened my mind to coming back to YA, and I'm glad that I did that because I particularly often really like YA fantasies. I like that those books tend to have like less complicated world building, because I really like magic systems in fantasy, but the world building, like, I'm not always at, like, the total world building, I'm not always as invested in. So I was like, oh yeah, I really do like YA fantasies for that reason. And I actually really like YA mysteries. Those are kind of the two YA genres that I've rediscovered, like, oh yeah, I really like this as sort of like a version of this bigger genre I like. So yeah, I think that that's been kind of a good discovery, and I think finding booktubers whose opinions I trust or who have tastes that are similar to mine for those kinds of books has been really helpful and helped me find things I'll actually enjoy. Number 3 is, how much time did you spend on YouTube before Booktube, and how much time do you spend on it now? I love YouTube. I watch a lot of YouTube, and I really have for probably the last like 5 years, just because like so many of my fellow millennials, like, I don't have cable. So I kind of, especially I guess in grad school, I got really into YouTube. So maybe, I guess that would actually be more like 6 years. Just getting all that free content was like really important to me. I really liked kind of like humorous YouTube clips. Then I kind of moved into like comedy on YouTube, various forms of it. Then I moved more into like beauty YouTube, that was like my jam, and like health and fitness YouTube and Booktube, kind of those emerged at the same time. So yeah, I watched a lot of it in the past, and I still watch a lot of YouTube because I don't have cable. So like between that and Netflix and you know, borrowing my parents' cable login information for certain Bravo shows, like that's really the totality of my like viewing time. Number 4 is, how many books did you read per month per year before Booktube, and how many do you read now? So this has changed a lot over the last, so I'm a nerd. I have reading stats for the last 7 years, 8 years. So before grad school, I would say that I was probably averaging 70 to 100 books a year. In grad school, my peak reading was, I think, 450 books in 1 year. And that is because I was doing my thesis on romance novels, so I had to read a lot of things that were not that hard to get through, but like I had to read a lot of them. That was sort of like my peak. And I think in the process of grad school, I learned how to read really quickly. If you are in any kind of like liberal artsy degree in grad school, if you cannot read quickly, you will not survive. Like, or I guess people must, but like, I don't understand how they do it. I mean, good on them. But anyway, I learned to read very, very quickly in grad school. So as a result, coming out of grad school, I think my average has probably been between 150 to 200 books a year, which I know is a lot, but I read quickly, and I do not watch much like TV or movies. Like, that's not really my preferred entertainment. My preferred entertainment at this point are books. So I think genre fiction has taken over what used to take up like what used to be like television time for me, basically. So yeah, I read a lot, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. But I will say that in terms of like specifically with Booktube, I do think that Booktube kind of encourages me, it makes me very conscious of the variety of books I'm reading. So I think I get less like super focused on a genre. Like in the past, I would get like, all I want to read right now are mysteries, or like, all I want to read right now are romances, or all I want to read right now is lit fic. Like, I would get very tunnel visioned, and I read a lot of different genres, but I think I would get kind of like mostly reading one thing with some other things sprinkled in. And I do think that Booktube, because I know I'm going to be talking about what I'm reading, I think it encourages me to not go so far down those rabbit holes, but to like mix it up a little bit better. Number 5, has Booktube affected your book buying habits? And if so, are you pleased or displeased by this? Has it affected my book buying habits? I think that Booktube did remind me how much I enjoy physical books, because I had gotten very focused on building my ebook collection, and I still do buy a lot of ebooks. I do a physical haul every month, and I think if I could find a way to do it entertainingly, I would be happy to talk about all the ebooks I buy, because so much of how I own so many books is because like I have become a maven of getting ebooks for cheap or for free. Like, I know a lot of the tricks of how to do that. So I buy a ton of ebooks, but I think that watching Booktube kind of reminded me like, yeah, you know what, there are certain books that I prefer to have in physical form, and I really want to focus on collecting those books in the format that I want them. So I would say that Booktube kind of like gave me some like renewed appreciation for the beauty of physical books. And in terms of how, if I'm pleased or displeased, I want to make a whole video at some point. I do think that there's a certain kind of superficiality potentially, or consumeristic, or whatever word you want to use, that goes along with sort of the like focus on like the acquisitive side of books. But at the same time, like, reading is my passion and my hobby, and collecting books is a part of the enjoyment I get out of that whole thing. So I don't think that, I would say, I guess I'm pleased, because I think having that kind of clarity about like, oh, these are the types of books that you want to get in physical form has made me enjoy my physical collection of books a lot more than I think I was before Booktube. That being said, I think I'm also spending a lot more money on them than I used to. So that's not always the best, but you know, it's in my budget. I'm not doing anything I can't afford to do. So long as that's the case, I might feel a little hand-wringy about it, but for me, it's not gotten to a point where it's harmful or detracting from my overall quality of life. Number 6 is, has a review by a booktuber ever retroactively made you reconsider your stance on a book? I think I've had individual moments of realizing that there may be something in a book that I hadn't picked up on or noticed or seen, and I think that it's usually not in major ways. Like basically what I'm saying is, I don't think that I've ever liked a book or not liked a book, seen reviews on it, and totally changed my mind. I do think that there's probably been cases where looking at either at Booktube or at Goodreads reviews has maybe like nuanced my feelings about a book a little bit. I definitely think that I think most people are not impervious to outside feedback into their sort of thought processes. So yeah, I think that a lot of my views probably have been nuanced over the years by different people's opinions, but I don't think that I've ever had like a complete change of heart. Number 7, are there any videos you've been inspired to make after seeing another booktuber's video? Have you ever felt inspired by another booktuber's style, their video style, their book organization style, their personal style, anything? In terms of feeling inspired by another booktuber style, I'm sure I have. Again, I just don't think that anyone's impervious to sort of outside feedback, and like, I think that that's cool and good. Like, it's, you know, that's the whole social media influencer. Like, we are influenced by each other. And I think just by the fact that I do things called unhauls, right? Like, I love doing those, but would I have called that act, which has always been a part of things I've done with books, an unhaul and done a video about it if I hadn't seen other people doing it? I don't know, probably not. I may have called it like book cleanse, or who knows. Like, I think that there are like kind of set video ideas in the community that I don't know that I would have natively called them what they're called or done them in the way that I do them. So I'm sure I've been influenced in that respect. In terms of like a specific video I was inspired to make, I believe her, oh God, I always trip up on her username. I think it's Girl About Library. I'll link her video below. She did a every book on my TBR video, just like showing you what was on her TBR, and I loved that idea. So I did a version of that where I did all the books that I owned on my physical TBR, and I really enjoyed making that video, and I think you guys liked watching it. So yeah, that was like a direct, like, I liked this on her channel, I did this on mine. Number 8, what are some pressures you feel on your reading life because of your channel? You know, I would say that being on Booktube and just like wanting to be a part of conversations makes me read more frontlist than I'm probably really comfortable reading, because I've not traditionally been a frontlist reader, but I get excited about books and I want to read them when they come out and all that kind of stuff. So like, I think that that probably creates some pressure. In that same vein, I also get ARCs sometimes now, and again, I think that creates a pressure in terms of like, if I ask for an ARC, I want to make sure that I do a review of it, because I just feel like that's the right thing to do. So that creates some pressure because I am such a mood reader. Like, I would ideally have no limits on like what I should or shouldn't be reading at a given point. So I think things like that do probably put some pressure on reading, and like, I feel pressure to like, oh, I want to get this read and because I want to be able to talk about it. Yeah, so I do think I probably get some pressure in that respect. Though I would say in general, I'm still a mood reader. So like, I think I'm not as, it is harder for me to feel pressure to read something because, or I should say, I guess it's hard for me to give in to the pressure to read something because I am so resistant to that. Like I'm just such a mood reader. Number 9, in what way, if any, do you feel the social element of the community has impacted your reading? Do you think about books differently since joining? That's an interesting question. I really love the whole buddy reads thing and aspect. Yeah, I haven't done a ton of them, but I've really enjoyed the ones that I've done. I think next year I want to try to do some more of that. I'm thinking through some ways to do that in a way that doesn't infringe on my mood reading, because that's the only part of it that sometimes I struggle with. The social element has been so important to me. Like, I have made like friends on Booktube, which I think is really cool. People I've never met IRL, but people that I would certainly call friends. I just really enjoy meeting, especially like, I think there's a lot of camaraderie, or there can be camaraderie between fellow creators, and I really enjoy that. Yeah, the social element of Booktube is huge to me. I just love talking to you guys in the comments. Like, I love getting different people's perspectives. I especially love it, like, I mean, I love everyone, but I like it when people from other countries will kind of chime in and say like, oh, that's not how we think about this here, or this is a little different, or whatever. Like, I always enjoy that. I love seeing the same names in my comments come up again and again, and I feel like I build a little, I don't know, chatty relationship with people. Yeah, I love the social element of it. That's why I started Booktube, because I was in a city where I could not find any fellow readers for me to like geek out with. So like finding that here has been really just lovely. Number 10, what influence do you hope your own channel will have on the Booktube community and or aspiring booktubers? That's so great. Okay, what do I want my legacy to be? In terms of like my taste, there's not as many omnivores out there as I wish there were. And I think I felt kind of insecure about that for a while, of like, I don't have a thing. Like I feel like most channels have like a thing, like they are YA readers, or they are mystery readers, or they are fantasy readers, or whatever. And I do think that having a thing can be helpful in terms of like branding basically your channel, and like, you know, getting your name associated very closely with a given genre. So I think that there can be drawbacks to that, but I try to be really true to my own taste, and my own taste is that I will read pretty much anything. So I guess I'd choose to try to look at it as a strength and say like, if you like romance, I have something for you. If you like narrative nonfiction, I have something for you. If you like, you know, philosophical text, I have something for, I mean, like, I really will read, I read a lot, and I like dissecting whatever I'm reading. So I hope that maybe that's part of my influence, is that you can have a wide taste and be true to yourself in that, but also that I really love thinking deeply about anything I'm reading. There can be a kind of, and I say this with gentle love, pretension, I think, among a certain type of reader of serious fiction, of literary fiction, that theirs is the only genre worthy of like deep consideration. And like, I just frankly reject that. Like, I love thinking deeply about lowbrow culture. I love diving, like, I got so many comments on that reading vlog I did. The bookstore picks my TBR, and then I did a reading vlog, people saying, oh, like, I've never heard someone talk this way about the romance genre before. And I loved getting that, because like, I love thinking critically and deeply about what is like some of the pulpiest fiction out there. Like, I think that that's worthwhile and interesting, and I think it's engaging with literature that people actually read very broadly. So I really like doing that. That's something that I'm really interested in, and I think it's something that people who watch my channel really enjoy. So maybe that's where I'll come around to, is that I would love for my influence to be that I can sit down and have an hour-long philosophical discussion with you about like a James Patterson novel. Like, I can do that and love doing things like that, because I think it's interesting, and it really, to me, like opens up so many interesting avenues of not only reading analysis, but also like social history and like sociology, basically. And I think that those are conversations worth having, and those are the kinds of conversations I like cultivating on my channel, and I think people who like watching me like those kinds of discussions too. So maybe that will be my legacy, is just like, yeah, like I like thinking deeply and analytically about anything I read, and I read a lot of different things. Whew. Okay, that took me on a introspective journey, so thank you. Again, a book I'll have created this tag. She is fantastic. You should definitely go check her channel out. I will have that information linked below. I'll have the questions and whatnot in the description box. Like, everything you need to know will be in the description box, basically. So, thanks for tagging me. I never really tag people in these because I don't know why. For some reason, it feels like it makes me feel anxious tagging people. I don't know why. Anyway, so I'm not going to do that, but if you enjoyed this tag, definitely feel free to do it. I tag you. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, follow me on the social medias if you are so inclined. I have all that information listed in the description box below. And I think that will do it. Hope you're having a great one, and I will talk to you soon.